All right. Hello, everybody. I am live today with a horse whisperer of all people. I'm just like so excited. I'm like, I don't even do my normal introduction because I'm just so excited to talk to you. I'm like, let's talk about Alyssa Shefar. Hi, everybody. Let's all take a breath. It's so good to do that with another woman.
Feels
Usually
good.
I do that by myself on camera, so it's so good to do that with you. What a great way to start this conversation. Everybody,
Yeah.
this is Michelle Canon, the Satisfied Wife. As you might have noticed, I'm going live like all week long with amazing secrets and details and information about my legendary Goddess Wife School program. And also, when I do this, I get the excuse to reach out and reconnect with so many of the amazing alumni from the program who had beautiful results while we were doing the work together, but also like so many amazing things that continue to blossom. And Elisa is one of those incredible women that was in the program and who I've just been like watching your life just get more amazing and just like dreams coming true and all this like incredible stuff going on. So I wanted to invite you on and thank you so much for making the time to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to kind of tap back into that experience as well as sort of share the beauty that has come from the work that we did in that container and how I've been able to continue moving forward using some of the tools. So I'm excited.
I love that. You're right. Like every time, like one of the reasons that I run this program over and over is there's this real like richness and there's just so many women come back to do the program over and over again to like go deeper, to learn more, to like embody the lessons and that energy more and more. Do you mind sharing like what
Yeah.
is some of that stuff that you're like excited to talk about or reconnect with or like keep moving forward for yourself and in your relationship?
Oh, good question. Well, first and foremost, I think, and it seems so basic, but I think the relationship vision has been an anchor for me big time because it's so easy to create the vision in the container and even journal about it later, but then your own triggers and your own stuff comes up and old stuff because of course I'm divorced and co-parenting, and that's been a huge core piece which you really helped me with, which is funny because when I don't know if we'll get to that part of my story, but I actually joined Goddess Wife School when I was divorced and single, because I wanted to heal that relationship with my ex for co-parenting as well as show my kids how to be in relationship. And then on top of that, really learn how to be fully myself and receive in relationship and how do I want to show up. And so something that I know, it feels so basic to say the relationship vision was such a huge takeaway, but it's something that I come back to like all the time now. It's a tool that I never even thought of that before working with you. And now it's like, oh, I'm out of alignment with my vision. What do I need to do to get back there? Rather than putting all my stuff onto him, my relationship has soared like immensely. It's just been incredible the last few years. So I'm really grateful for the time that I spent with you and the little tools that you really helped me. The communication stuff, like huge. So I'm very grateful for our time together because I don't think I would be where I am today without having been through Goddess Wife School. I really think every woman should go through it, especially women that are leaders. That's one thing I wanted to touch on today that I didn't mention in our last live that we did. I think any woman that's holding space for another woman should go through Goddess Wife School. It really has helped me as a leader and a mentor for other women.
Can you
Really.
say more? Like I 100%
Yeah.
agree. And like how does that translate for you? Why do you think that's true?
Well, again, that relationship vision and the communication and the learning how to receive. One of the things I've always been terrible at is receiving compliments. I usually go, no, no, but thanks. And I mean, when you're in a give and receive relationship, especially with clients, something that I've worked on since Goddess Wife School is my clients will, give me a compliment or say something really wonderful. And instead of being like, oh no, it was all you did all the work, I'm actually receiving all the beautiful celebrations and I'm like, lit up and it's fueling my work. And I notice that it ripples to the next client, to the next client. And so I feel like learning how to receive just something as simple as a compliment or gift. Like since Goddess Wife School, I've received so many gifts from clients. I didn't even know that was a thing. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I receive with these. Like I've got this. And then, of course, the communication skills with another woman, because I know that we talk about like the feminine communication with a man in a relationship, but to be able to communicate through that sisterhood wound and have some of those tools, has been really big. So I truly do believe that many women that are in that role, in that leadership, holding space for other women, should go through this program. Or maybe you'll create something down the road because of this, but you've got skills there, I think, that can help women,
Oh,
supporting women.
thank you. Thank you. It's like it's so interesting because, every time I open doors and I'm, write content and I go back
Mm-hmm.
and I like update the program and add more things, like it's so important for me to hear this kind of feedback. And because, I talk a lot about what happens with you and your man, but like using these tools, not only does it change your relationship, but it changes like how you feel, right? Like what you're saying, like your sense of self-worth and like really
Yeah.
seeing the best of yourself through other people's eyes, and just like being in that vibration of like understanding how you deserve to be treated and how valuable you are just like for being you, and like and what you deserve to like expect from other people. It has so many ripple effects outside of your
Oh,
primary,
yeah.
like your romantic relationship. And so it's like, this isn't a business program per se, but like so many women that have gone through the program that like raise their prices and, and say no to like crazy schedules that don't work for them, and like find more balance for
Yes.
themselves, and like really start to create entire lives that are about like you making sure that your needs are met, that you're feeling good, that you're feeling nourished. And there's so many other ripple effects outside of that.
Yes. Definitely, because who you are, like one of the things I remember you saying, and I might not be wording it accurate because the container was a while ago, but I remember you wording it in a way of like, who do you want to be in relationship? How do
Right.
you show up in relationship? And of course, like I said, you'll have your own languaging, but that's what landed for me. And that is something that I take even when I get on a Zoom call with a client, or I'm out with the horses and a client, or I'm with my husband, partner, fiance, future husband, or I'm with my teenagers. Like I'm even, to me, that's a really big piece that came from this container, is showing my daughter how to be in relationship,
Mm,
and showing my son how to be in relationship, how to treat a woman, how to have a conversation. Like it's just, I feel like, having teenagers has just been profound, the way that I'm showing up in relationship, that started with, yes, their dad, my ex, and my partner now, they've seen those huge transformations, but it's bled into so many other areas. And I just think, I mean, who you are in relationship and how you show up in relationship, whether it's with yourself or with another, whether it's with a client or your own coach and mentor or your partner or your children, I think it sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it really, be the change, lead by example, I think is
right.
what I'm trying to say. Like rather than preaching that we're doing all this work in the personal development work, I actually want to be the work and do the work and show the work. So to me, that's such a huge piece of what you do, is it's like, you don't just give the women a bunch of content, say, good luck, have fun. Like you're actually there for the journey of the integration, which I think is where the most powerful development work happens, is the integration piece, because we can receive content and then what, right? Like we just disappear and then we don't do
Yeah.
anything with it. And so I really love that it was like a process and integration and show up. And I thought that was really, it's a powerful container,
Yeah,
Michelle.
I mean, when say instant results, like I know that sounds like a catchy, like, kind of thing that
Yep.
you just say, but like once you start to embody that, like once you what that means is once you start to feel that and be in the energy of that, and like let that, like it's like trying on a new skin kind of, and like and step into that more and more and get more and more comfortable. That's how everyone and everything starts to like respond to you, right? Like, and that's how
Yep.
you, when people say crazy things like quantum leaping and collapsing time and all this like jargon, what they're really mean is like, how do you get there? How do you be that person now? Right. And it's like, what I love about Goddess Wife School and doing it with so many other women is watching all of us, because we're all like regular human being women, but watching how
Yep.
we step into that identity and embody that energy, and how we like start to see each other in that way and support each other
Mm-hmm.
and cheer each other on, and just like now
Yep.
you're in a crew of other women that are like doing that and then making it real like in your life. And because that's what I want. Like when we sit here, it's so theoretical. We're just like talking about it. But like the reason
Yep.
there's Goddess Life School is so that you can have that actual experience, and you can take
Yes.
it with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's profound. It's beautiful.
So, like, I know that it's been a little while, right? Which I love
Yeah.
too, right? I love that it's not only like I have women that did the program a couple months ago. Like it's been over a year, right, since you did
Yeah.
housewife school. So
Yeah.
what are the things that have happened, have continued to happen? Like I heard husband, not husband, almost husband. Like what's been
Yeah.
going on with you?
Oh, it's been beautiful. So we have really blended our families because before it was sort of like we were just dating, and I really kept that separate. I didn't really want to let him in. I had to work on the trust stuff because of my last relationship. Like I've really let him in and his family. We've been blending. He's been a huge part of my kids' lives, and we're currently in the process of purchasing a ranch, which is so exciting, and planning our wedding, which is hopefully going to be this spring. So that has been really profound. And being able to navigate the hardships of him being a stepdad. He's also 24 years older than me. So there's that. Like his kids are older and my kids are teenagers. Like there's been a lot of hurdles that we've had to learn how to navigate. He's never been with a younger woman with kids. So like his are older, and he's got grandkids. So then there's, I'm 34 years old. So there has been a lot of things that we've had to learn to navigate. But the one thing that I would say has changed the most has been the way we see each other as equal, because this is going to sound so conceited and I've never said it out loud, but I'm going for it. I used to almost be like, I do personal development. Like I'm spiritual. Like, you have work to do. Like I almost looked down on him a little bit, and not in a negative way, but it was just, now I see him as like the way he's done his journey is his journey. It doesn't have to match mine. I feel I have become so much more emotionally mature since that container. And I mean, to be able to be with a man who's already there because he's 24 years older, I had to really level up and stop sort of putting myself on a pedestal of like, oh, this is what I do. I'm like a guru, like I'm, health and wellness yogi. Like I had sort of this spiritual ego going on. I'm almost embarrassed
Same.
to be talking about this, but yeah, it was like, oh wait, his journey doesn't have to match mine. That doesn't make me better than him. It doesn't mean that his way was wrong. Like it's just really opened the doors for, well, I mean, obviously it's been incredible. We're getting married.
I can't believe myself. That's so amazing. That's so amazing because I remember
Thank
when
you.
I first joined the program and the intention was that you wanted to have a different co-parenting relationship with your ex. Like, I think this guy, he was around, but there wasn't
Mm-hmm.
anything like really yet. But really, you learned so much about not only like shifting that relationship and healing so much about like the trust issues that you had before, but it was all in service to like, you wanted this kind of relationship. You wanted a different kind of partnership with a man that would like really show up for you, really take care of you, have so much
Yeah.
fun with you, let you be like the wild, powerful, mystical woman that you are. And so like, so just some of the highlights, right, is like not only you're getting married, but you have this incredible practice and business with horses. And like you said, you're buying a property with him too. Like that's just, that must just feel so amazing. I just want to celebrate you. You're on mute. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had to
It's
take my
okay.
out. It does feel so good. So thank you for celebrating, because it does feel really good to be in a place where all of my dreams of a relationship felt so far away and almost impossible and almost unclear, because there was so much hurt that happened through the divorce. And then, of course, that was yucky and tense and trying to figure out the money stuff. And we didn't want to go the legal path. But then, I was hurt because there was infidelity. And it was just oh man, I couldn't hold space for a mature and loving and intimate relationship when I was still so angry and didn't know how to communicate over here. And so a big part of calling in what I'm celebrating now and getting married has been through having to heal stuff that I was actually repressing, because I'm like, oh, again, that spiritual ego came in. I'm like, oh, I'm all love and light. We can co-parent and be best friends. But I was angry on the inside. And so I had to learn how to be okay with that and express it, but in a healthy manner. And yeah, I just can't believe the leaps and bounds that my partner now and I, where we've come. And he talks about it all the time. I think I shared this on our last chat actually, but he still says, you are such a different woman. I mean, you're still you, but like, you're so different than when we first met and first started, because I don't get as angry and as triggered right away. And we can have hard conversations. And I trust him so much more because he's a pilot and I was a flight attendant. That's how we met. So of course, when he goes to work, I'm like, there's all these younger, sexy flight attendants. I would get activated because my ex cheated. So when he was away for work. So of course that was like a constant thing that I brought up and felt within myself, this fear. And I don't feel that at all anymore. It's just, I feel so confident within myself. And I think the biggest key that I would love for other women that are thinking about going through this program is that you really get to learn how you want to show up in the relationship, because I had a tendency to put it all on him, saying, you know, you need to be calling me more, and all the problems were on him. And I wasn't really taking ownership for that. A lot of that stuff was mine. And so once I learned how to show up in relationship as the woman that I want to be, but as he deserves, and I want my kids to see, of course, there was a lot of healing that had to happen through that, but everything morphed, everything changed when I took full ownership for my part in the relationship. And it's just been, I just can't believe we're getting, our sex life has gone through the roof, and that has been nice too. Oh, it's been incredible.
I'm like so happy for you. Like, honestly, it's like, you know, it's, you know, like when you read social media and stuff, you know, you see things like, I have it all, I want it all, and everything's like, you know, not perfect, but like so great. And I love everything that you're saying, because it is so great. And you're also mirroring how, like, yeah, you have to have hard conversations in relationship. That's part of how you create solutions, or ways to get to the place where like you both want to be happy, instead of what a lot of couples do, which is like sulk in the corner, and nobody's ever like really fully happy. You don't really get to like the meat of what you really want to talk about. So I can totally see and understand how learning how to have those skills in relationship, of course, would help you like in your business and with your clients, and negotiating for a home, or doing real estate, or like planning for the future. And I really do want you to talk about the piece with your kids, and about like modeling healthy relationship for your daughter, and also for your son too. Like, there's a lot of moms in my community, and me myself too, and one of my biggest like motivators is my daughter. You know, like I had so much healing to do from watching what happened in my parents' relationship, and all the things that I was like, I never want that. But like what you were saying is, okay, I know what I don't want, but somehow those patterns still come in anyway. But what do I want? Like, how do I want it to be different? Like, and a lot of times we don't know, or we don't have models for that until like we become the model for that ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, really well said. You know, it's really interesting because when my kids were younger and I was in that marriage, I didn't think about what I was role modeling at that time, because I just thought they're toddlers, or they're young kids. They're not really understanding or picking
Right.
up. But those are very impressionable, powerful years. And I think how we show up in relationship with our partner in those toddler years for our kids sets the stage for the relationship. Like, I truly married my father. Literally, he's the same man, same job, same habits, same pattern, same health, same astrological sign. I married my father. So of course, and then I became my mother to some degree, right? So I was repeating so much, and I can already see some of that. I don't want to call it damage, but some of those patterns. My daughter's got some of them now that she's getting into liking boys. And so thankfully in the last few years, even though it's, you know, now they're teenagers, so it's sort of, I don't want to say too late, because what I do now is still very impactful. However, I'm really proud that I've been able to sort of dismantle and break, because some of that was generational stuff. Like some of the patterns I was repeating literally, I married my father. Like, it was so weird. So I can already see the seed planted in my daughter. And I'm so proud that I didn't wait till she was in her 30s to heal and break those patterns and have toxic man after man after man, until like I did it at a time when they're under my roof. They got to see me do the work of breaking the generational pattern, what that looked like. And it wasn't always easy. Like, I brought them in, I cried in front of them and talked to them about how hard it is. Like, I haven't kept them out. I mean, of course I've, you know, filtered it because they are kids, but I've brought them in for what it is like to go through healing the generational stuff, and divorce, and how to be in relationship, and what type of woman I want to be, and what type of man I want to be and want to be with, and what type of man I want in their life. So it has been a lot of open conversation and dialogue with them. But I've been really proud of my daughter, because she's started to come to me saying, I can see where that pattern is. Like, having those conversations and doing the work myself has shown her to see and not project it onto the boys, you know, the bad boys, because she's such a good girl. So she has the classic, she likes the bad boys. And so, which is normal. I want her to have a normal teenhood, but I also want to show her how that pattern plays out later in life if you're not aware of it now. And so to have, my 14-and-a-half-year-old daughter coming to me saying, oh, I can totally see how I'm repeating that pattern that you talked about you did and your mom did. And then we can have a conversation about it. And it brings me to tears. Even right now, I'm feeling emotional and choked up because I can see, 15 years of work that I did, she's getting at 14-and-a-half. And she's going to have her own stuff too. But it's just, it took me till I was 30 to get it. And we've collapsed time by me having those conversations and doing the work. And she gets to have those breakthroughs at 14. Like, I'm just so proud. Like, it's just like, it's so special. You're on mute now, Michelle.
No, it's my turn. I said, I often say that I wish that I had Goddess Wife School and all these lessons before I started dating, like before I had to, learn it all or like suffer through it all. There's so much that we had to suffer through. And like, I think that's a lot of why I do this work, and I know why you do the work that you do with your clients too, is like, how do we pass this information on to like as many women as possible and make sure that they don't have to struggle any longer than they have to, and like,
Yeah.
can really embody like a kind of empowerment that is just, it's really different than the empowerment that we get taught like in society of like what it, me and my daughter were just listening to the Encanto soundtrack in the car, with like Louisa, how you have to like hold everything and carry everything and never let go and like push, like the energetic of that is how so many of us were raised to like get through things. And yeah, we can do that. We are that strong, but like, we just have this opportunity to model something and to try something different, for ourselves and for our kids. And that's how you break those generational traumas and like those patterns that keep us stuck.
Definitely. And it's really interesting too, because I mean, they're coming up in a different time, but right
Yeah.
now it's such a feminist time. And one of the key things that I want to, give her, and that like you really help me again, also re-anchor, is like, yes, women can do what men can do, but we also have so much that men can't do. That's our gifts. And I want her to remember that we're not meant to do all the things that men do because we're meant to be women. And like, there's so much beauty in being a woman. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with being a feminist. It's beautiful and powerful, but there's just almost like this,
like this anti-female part of feminism. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, babe, like to her, I'm like, own it. Like, own that you're a woman and own that you have this emotional darkness, intuitive magic, sexual. Like we talk about that because of course all that's coming up in these teen years, right? So it's like, I want her to be a strong feminist in a way, but I also want her to be able to receive and communicate and have a relationship with a man where he gets to be empowered. Because one of the things I remember you talking about in Goddess Wife School as well, which is something I never recognized in my marriage, which probably could have been one of the issues that I was unconscious of, that I now hold space for in my relationship, is like, he has strengths as a man and he loves being able to do those things. And so when I try to show up and go, I can nail everything in the wall and I'll get the jar myself and I'll lift the heavy thing. I don't need you to be a man and help me and provide for me. But that's like innate in him, especially being, an older man and coming from his time as well, is like, he loves doing some of that stuff. How can I help you and support you? And then I'm trying to be like, I can do it all. I don't need your help. And it almost makes him feel kind of like less appreciated and valued and needed.
Totally.
And it's so funny because we're in this time where they're like, women can do what men can do. And going through divorce, I was all like, I don't need a man. Like I got so cold in that sense. And so being able to allow him and hold space for him, being able to show up where his strengths are without meaning it says anything about me not being able to, like not taking it personally, because
Exactly.
it's so interesting. So that's something else I'm trying to show the kids too, is it's like, I mean, it's a huge conversation. It's a big topic.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and like, but these are the kinds of conversations that we have inside of Goddess Wife School. Like, these are the kinds of things that like we unpack, like, what have we been conditioned to believe? And like, and what do, any kind of movement that has like a general like ideology, like how do we bring it into our lives in a way that is healthy and nourishing and that doesn't, diminish the other partner, like, because that's the kind of world we live in, right? One person wins, the other one loses. There's a right, there's a wrong. Like, if we live in this, the way that we've been taught things work is like in that kind of positive negative duality, and there's just such a richness, like, and so many different ways that you can play energetically, like with with your partner. And yes, you're so right. Like we can do it all, but like I don't want to. I'm tired. Like I didn't get in a relationship either so that we could just like exist side by side doing all of the things. Like, like how do we just have these opportunities to have more fun together and to like lift each other up by letting the other person be in our zone of genius and showing up. Like that's just fun. Like that's what relationship gets to be like.
Definitely. And it gives the chance to, I think, like one of the things that I remember was, I can't believe I'm going to go here live either, but I used to think like the foreplay was all on them. Like I was sort of like not dirty, but it was never spoken about. And so it was kind of like men did the foreplay to turn the woman on, and then the intercourse happened, and then it was like over. And it has become such a rich experience since I have been like, ooh, I can create the foreplay well before he gets home. And that was something that we talked about on one of our group calls, is like,
Yeah.
I can send a little text and take stuff out for dinner. Like I can be domestic and make it sexy at the same time. And that has been such a beautiful piece of the growth of our relationship, is like, because his zone of genius, I used to think, was the sexual initiation was on him, especially in my marriage. It was kind of like I waited for him to initiate, or I was just too tired or had a headache, right? Like it just didn't happen. And now I'm like, maybe my appetite has increased, but I'm like, no, like I want to not feel dirty in my sexual energy. Like, cause that's something that it was forbidden to talk about at home. And there wasn't social media, and women, doing this back then. So it's just been really incredible to sort of watch the ownership of the sexual energy and that part of like my part of the zone of genius of it. Cause we each have our own, of course, being a man and a woman. But I think for women, it's such like a dirty conceived thing for so many. I shouldn't say for all, but for so many women, it's sort of like, I don't know how to create foreplay. I don't know how to take ownership for my sexual energy. And so it just gets stifled. And
Or that it's like only specific to sex or to intercourse. Like I think part of what you're talking about is like how to be in this kind of like sensual place with yourself where like I talk a lot about being turned on or only doing things that turn me on, but what I mean by that is about like being nourished, feeling alive, like not just living in your head all the time, like having like a real earthly experience, like, where, and part of being in our feminine is really like being in our sensual bodies and tasting things and like, all of that. And then when you're in that, like, you're innately more sexual and more playful and more creative and more like connected. And so like another thing, I say a lot is like, happy wife, happy life. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like, how do you make yourself feel so juicy, so full up, so rich, like because it feels good for you, like you want to be like that. And then it's not like, how do I turn myself on for sex, or like how do I make myself get in the mood, but like you're just existing in that place where then you get to like meet with your partner and that kind of thing,
Yes, oh, definitely. Like I remember for so long having sex and faking it or not getting anything out of it because I wasn't in the mood, but I was doing it to please him, so he was happy in the relationship, and it was just sort of empty. And I don't want that type of connection anymore. And so the more sensual I am, like I don't even create containers anymore for my work. I don't offer anything that is not totally revved up from that place of desire. And it's so funny because you wouldn't think like, but I don't even know how to say this. This has been a bold conversation, but I truly tap into that space, that part of my body and that energy when I'm creating something. And if it doesn't turn me on in all of that, in the whole connection, mind, body, spirit, and, lower region, if I'm not feeling turned on, then I don't create it and offer it.
Love it.
I'll close a container even like if I'm like, I'm just not feeling turned on by this space anymore. Like I honor that sensual, juicy, desiring place to be the driver. And it's changed my life. Like I'm creating more income. My relationship is better. I'm getting married. We're buying a ranch. My kids are doing well. My friendships, like everything has morphed. And so it is truly, what you're doing is incredible, Michelle. Like it's phenomenal what women can get from going through Goddess Wife School. Like
I'm just going to put, sorry, say that again.
It's changed my life. Like yeah.
Thank you. You know, like in the same way for you learning how to receive, like thank you for letting me for sharing that with me and like letting me receive it too. Yeah, I just, I know I'm a relationship coach and it's like only recently I realized it's because I fucking love people. I love relationships. Like it's so important for me to be able to hear this from you and to know that this is like the place that you've been able to take yourself and everybody along for the ride like with you. And I'm really happy for you. I'm really proud of you. I'm really impressed by you. I'm really inspired by you. And I just love so much that you're an alumni and that you're part of this community and you're part of my world. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us, Alyssa.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was beautiful to see you again. And it truly was just such a magical experience, things that I never thought possible, especially healing from the previous relationship. Like that was transformational because I couldn't be where I am without that piece. So even if women are like, I don't have an ex-husband, but there's an ex from your life that lingers, comes up or triggers or activates you, Goddess Wife School is so powerful for that. So it's beautiful. Thank you for having me back to share all of this again. And I definitely do plan on going through the container again one day, especially
Oh,
maybe when I get married. That might be.
okay. Yeah. This round has like four women that are engaged in there right now that they all like bought it for wedding gifts for themselves, which I think is so rad.
I'm so happy for them. Oh my gosh. That's going to be an incredible
I know.
newlywed. Yeah, definitely.
Well, obviously you're welcome back anytime. And I just really appreciate you being here and sharing here and just like reminding me and all of us just like the power of what happens when we come together to heal and just like relearn all of these things that we don't even realize that we're programmed within our minds that might be getting in the way of us being totally fulfilled and also our masculine partners being able to totally fulfill us too. So thank you for being an example of that. For everyone else that's watching, doors are closing for Goddess Wife School this Friday night. And we're getting started next week, February 22nd. It's a 10-week incredible journey of just such special women. Like Alyssa is an example of the kind of energy and evolution that you'll find and experience inside of Goddess Wife School. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me or I'm going to tag Alyssa in this too. You can always message her. Otherwise, you just go to goddesswifeschool.com to sign up. Yeah, I feel like you said it all. I'm just like in total awe. So
We covered a lot of ground.
I know. You're like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to fucking say this.
I never would say ever. Like I'm proud of myself too, because you hold such great space. Like, and you say all the things. Don't mind the lighting. Sorry about
Yeah, it's no problem.
you hold this incredible space for all of that in the container, so it doesn't make me talking about sexual energy feel as awkward with you. So thank you very much.
We all have it, right? And like we want to I love the lights on you because we're just like casting a light, we're pulling it out of the shadows. Like the more we talk about it, the more like we embrace it, the more that we can like play with it and create with it, the happier that we're all going to be.
Definitely. I'm so excited for the women that are going in. Congratulations to you too, because I know as a woman holding space like that, every time you go through it, you grow so much. So congratulations to you. I'm excited to hear how this next round goes for everybody.
Thank you. Me too. All right, guys, goddesswifeschool.com. If you're in, Alyssa, thank you so much. And I'll be back tomorrow with another live. Bye.